Is the concept of the Constitution as a messiah a fallacy or a legitimate aspiration? We ask this because Kenya is going through a debate on whether or not to have a referendum for purposes of amending her constitution. In fact, the political undertones suggest that the only question is when, before the year 2022, the referendum shall be held, and not whether it shall be held. So what exactly is the idea behind this referendum call, and how exactly is it going to roll out? At Utafiti Hub, we have been looking at this issue. We note that Kenyans are relying mainly on politicians as well as the media for information, or should we call it misinformation? And this is why we are dedicating this video to give you some extra lenses on this referendum topic. Hello, I'm Joki Mboshi, and welcome to Utafiti Hub. Some schools of thought caution that referendums are dangerous because they take complicated political questions and hand them to citizens who are often deliberately misinformed about the facts. When we agree with this school of thought, we however also agree with the words of Sun Yat-sen, who is described by some as a Chinese revolutionary leader and statesman, that the government should train and direct the people in the acquisition of political knowledge and ability, thereby enabling them to exercise the powers of election, recall, initiative, and referendum. These words were uttered about 100 years ago. The first point of genuine sensitization is the information that actualization of any constitution is a gradual process. It has its own dynamics, which, if not deliberately and carefully steered for the public good, may be undermined by many conflicting interests, including status quo interests as well as those geared towards creating and thriving in chaos. This, we dare say, could easily be achieved through misplaced referendums. Citizens should learn from the various referendums that have been held across jurisdictions over the years. For instance, in Kenya, the year 2005 referendum, and in Italy, the year 2016 referendum, that a referendum can be completely misapplied as a test for confidence or lack thereof in a country's leadership. In each of these cases, the proposal by the heads of government was rejected, arguably as a show of no confidence in the leadership. On the other hand, Burundi's May 2018 referendum extended President Nkurunziza's term until 2034. He has been Burundi's president since the year 2005. Rwanda's December 2015 referendum also allowed President Kagame to run for a third term in office in 2017. It also shortens the presidential term from 7 to 5 years. Although this change is only effective from the year 2024. President Kagame has been Rwanda's president since the year 2000. The context of each of these referenda is self-evident. First, we suggest that the completeness of the referendum discussion in Kenya and any other country requires an examination of the country's defining constitutional moments. For instance, with Kenya, we find three conspicuous stages. First, the pre-colonial Kenyan society, which was characterized by unique forms of social-political arrangements that could nonetheless be termed as government. Then to Kenya's 1895 declaration as British East African Protectorate to independence, where she experienced something akin to constitutional experimentation, from the Littleton Constitution, Lennox Point Constitution, the Macleod Constitution, the 1960, 1962 and 1963 Lancaster House Conferences leading to the Independence Constitution, to name but a few. Third, post-independence, where Kenya has had two major constitutional reforms involving wholly new text in the year 1969 and in 2010, as well as piecemeal amendments such as in 1982 for the institution of a bylaw single-party government, and in 1992 ending the single-party system. Also important is the 2005 no-vote referendum. The message here is that constitutional amendments are not unusual, more so in Kenya. In fact, we suggest that a referendum in itself is a good thing, as it is a direct form of exercise of the sovereign power by the people as enshrined in the international as well as domestic instruments. In Kenya, we see this clearly spelled out under Article 1 of the Constitution. Nevertheless, constitutional referendums are to be approached rationally, with the appreciation that neither the Constitution nor any other law for that matter will be able to deliver a watertight, comprehensive system. In fact, there are countries such as Britain that do not rely on the concept of a singular constitutional document. Having established the relevance of referendums, we nonetheless suggest that there is need for clarity on the frequency and subject matter of referendums. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 has clear provisions on this. It would also be useful to look at how other jurisdictions go about this, and we shall discuss this comparative aspect in more detail in one of our upcoming videos. We hasten to add that a young constitution, as like many other things, requires time and nurture to grow. Therefore, let Kenyans as well as any other people going through a push for referendum be sufficiently informed. It is also necessary for citizens to question the justification behind or being made for the referendum call, especially considering whether it is merely a device for the demagogue. Our proposal on Kenya is that so far, Kenyans are being treated to traditional reasons that have already been addressed under Kenya's 2010 Constitution. What lacks, in our view, is implementation goodwill. Such traditional reasons include 1. Institutionalized impunity, 2. Institutional personalization, 3. Institutionalized corruption, 4. Political parties and decisions being driven by tyranny and greed as opposed to policy and ideology, 5. The electoral systems and processes, 6. Land acquisition and distribution, and 7. Blind separation of powers among the arms and levels of government, noting here the importance of cohesion as opposed to mere hobnobbing. Thank you for watching. We look forward to receiving your comments and contributions on the comment section below. Feel free to let us know if there is any topic that you would like for us to discuss. Also remember to subscribe to Utafiti Hub through the subscribe button. Utafiti Hub, capacity through many lenses.